The first mention of The Weeknd on the music blog Pitchfork from March 2011 opens with the sentence, "If you haven't heard much about The Weeknd, it's because there isn't much info out there on them." The author, Larry Fitzmaurice, referred to The Weeknd as them because even he wasn't sure how many people were involved in this musical project. Word had started to spread about The Weeknd on the internet 3 months before that article, thanks to a post on Drake's blog, October's Very Own. In December 2010, Oliver El Khatib, the co-founder of OVO, linked 2 now unavailable YouTube links of the songs Loft Music and The Morning with no text besides introducing The Weeknd. Multiple people in the comments thought it was Drake. Others dropped The Weeknd's government name, and they were talking as if maybe they knew him in real life. But most people had a knowledge level somewhere between those 2 types of comments. They heard the songs and they liked them, but they didn't really know anything about the man behind them. They probably didn't even know what he looked like. While there were a few early pictures of him floating around on the internet, the first time many people saw what he looked like was after a live performance that he held in Toronto in July 2011, 4 months after his debut mixtape House of Balloons took over the internet. It's a pretty mysterious introduction for an artist that we know a lot about today. He played the Super Bowl a few years ago, and currently owns the title of the most streamed song of all time on Spotify, and at the time of me recording this, has the most monthly listeners on the whole platform. Hell, I mean, he's even an actor now, kind of. The Weeknd was one of many examples of artists in the late 2000s and 2010s who used the power of mystery, intentionally or not, to propel themselves to stardom. Earl Sweatshirt, at 16, had grown adults trying to track him down after he was sent to a boarding school in Samoa. J. Paul managed to become one of the most sought-after artists on the internet without ever dropping an album on his own volition. Frank Ocean disappeared for 4 years between album 1 and album 2 and returned without many words, but instead an esoteric live stream of him building a staircase. Even an artist as big and public as Drake would drip feed fans with vague tweets and crumbs of information, admitting aloud on a Migos feature in 2013, "I've been so quiet I got the world like, what the f is he planning?" In the 2010s, the coolest thing to be was mysterious, as artists attempted to lead their fans to a desired destination by planting clues like a serial killer who gets a little too bored and starts leaving fingerprints intentionally at the scene just for the rush of it all. But in the second half of the 2010s, it felt like the pendulum started to swing in the other direction. Now, today, it feels like artists are in our face at all times. If they don't post on social media daily, they'll be forgotten about and irrelevant. For some artists like Taylor Swift, their diehard fans know all the inner details about their lives and which of her songs are about which ex-boyfriends or spurned fellow pop stars. Whereas some artists in the past would keep their process closed off, many now take the open kitchen format approach, posting behind-the-scenes content, beat breakdowns, snippets of something they made 20 minutes ago, or maybe even making music on livestream. Very few artists are taking the Frank Ocean approach, of disappearing for a few years, taking your time to cook up something new, instead opting for the exact opposite, remaining in the public eye as much as they can, showing up on Kai Cenat's stream, or maybe even becoming content creators themselves. And now halfway through the 2020s, which is a little crazy to think about, it feels like we're all a bit sick of the current state of music promotion. If it felt like we didn't see our favorite artists enough back then, maybe today it feels like we see them a little too much. So in this video, I want to get into the concept of mystery and intrigue in the music industry. Why is being mysterious such an effective way of building hype for an artist? How is it possible to create those types of feelings at a time when you're asked to be online and available all day long? There are some artists who, despite it all, do a great job of it today. What's their secret? How do they pick and choose which parts of their identity to share and which to keep for themselves? After all, we all do need to protect certain parts of our identity from the public. And if you need some help with that, you should check out today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Aura. Think about how many times on the internet you give out your name, address, phone number, credit card information. There are data brokers out there who collect this type of personal information from people like you or I, and then sell it to others so that they can bombard us with ads, emails, and propositions. Aura will help you remove your personal information from these data brokers and people search sites that can sell your information to identity thieves, scammers, and more. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points like the dark web and public court records to alert you about any potential identity theft. You'll be notified in minutes if your credit file has been compromised, like if someone tries to open credit cards or loans in your name. This is just scratching the surface of what you can get with Aura. There's Aura VPN, which protects your internet connection with military-grade encryption. There's antivirus services to secure your Android, PC, or Mac from malware, including viruses, spyware, trojans, ransomware, and more. There's a password manager to store your passwords securely and conveniently across apps. And there's a US-based support team available around the clock if anything goes wrong. You can get all of this in one app at one affordable price. I'm not leaving myself or my family vulnerable to data breaches or brokers. And if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/HADJI to try 2 weeks for free. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal information has been exposed. Thanks again to Aura for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it. It's no secret that people are drawn to mystery and intrigue. Just look at the book industry, where mystery books are the second most popular genre after romance and erotica. There's nothing people want more than love and sex, so the silver medal is still pretty impressive. There are so many popular TV shows driven by individual whodunit type of crime mysteries in each episode, and then there are shows like Severance, Lost, or Twin Peaks, where there's an overarching question that hangs over the whole series, with viewers feverishly cooking up theories and marinating on what the hell might be going on. True crime is one of the most popular genres of podcasts and just content in general, with unsolved mysteries being the driver of many of those series. There is some science behind humanity's desire to seek answers to the unknown. A psychologist named Sam Goldstein wrote a column for Psychology Today called "Why We Love a Good Mystery" that ties our natural curiosity back to our evolutionary instincts, in a time when our ancestors needed to be able to understand patterns in nature and detect threats. Nobody's life was necessarily in danger when they were trying to figure out where Earl Sweatshirt was in the middle of Odd Future blowing up, but that insatiable curiosity comes from somewhere inside the human nature. If you really think about it, mystery, intrigue, and curiosity are what drive humans to do crazy shit like climb Mount Everest, or get into a submersible and go to the bottom of the ocean to try to find the Titanic. When we think about musicians, mystery is more of a spectrum. Some artists, like the long-running avant-garde band The Residents, are fully anonymous and wear costumes to preserve their identities. On a more popular scale, the French electronic duo Daft Punk were rarely ever seen without their motorcycle helmets on during their near 20-year active career. While their die-hard fans had seen their faces before, here and there, the average listener of Around the World or Get Lucky had absolutely no idea what these guys look like. After their retirement in 2021, they've been a bit more lax about showing their face. To demonstrate how big of a deal that was, I found a Reddit post of a fan complaining that one of their faces being public ruins the whole thing and means the band will probably never do any kind of reunion. Music, for a long time, was one of the only multimedia formats where it was possible to hide your face. You couldn't be an actor in big movies wearing a Mexican wrestling mask over your face the whole time, so I mean, it kind of makes sense. In the digital age, the advent of modern content creation and things like streaming opened the door for a new type of anonymous creator. Until his face reveal, one of the most popular examples was the Minecraft YouTuber Dream, and when his face dropped, it broke the internet for a day. Another creator named Corpse Husband was telling horror stories on YouTube anonymously, becoming known for his trademark deep voice, and then branched out into music and got a lot of attention for it. He was playing Among Us with an elected US Congresswoman in 2020 to try and get people to vote. That year was a complete fever dream. He never publicly revealed his face, although some purported pictures of him leaked onto the internet in 2021. The anonymity was so important to the Corpse Project that some on the internet have declared that that reveal ruined his entire career. A compelling and mysterious story can even be enough to snowball into a brand new music career. In 2016, a guy on the anonymous forum 4chan posted about a peculiar album he found in a thrift store, with age and distortion making it difficult to figure out who the actual person or people behind the music were. Many Redditors and internet sleuths said, "Challenge accepted," and 4 years later they finally tracked down the original members of the band Panchico. The band had long since broken up, gotten regular jobs, and given up on their dreams of making it in the music world. Thanks to the hype, they were able to reform, sign a record deal, and start a successful career as a touring band, off the exact same music that was once ignored and deemed unsuccessful. The only change to the recipe was a little sprinkle of mystery and intrigue. We can't talk about mystery in music without addressing Mr. Mysterious himself, Frank Ocean. After working as a songwriter, signing as an artist, but being so forgotten that once he did blow up, Def Jam had no idea that they already had him signed, he finally broke through with his mixtape Nostalgia Ultra in February 2011, just a month before The Weeknd's House of Balloons. Frank was not an outwardly mysterious character for the first few phases of his career. For Nostalgia Ultra, he shot music videos for songs like Swim Good and Novocaine. For his debut album Channel Orange, he did interviews, shot videos for Lost, Pyramids, and did performances at award shows and Saturday Night Live. It was the period between Channel Orange and its two follow-ups, Endless and Blonde, where Frank truly went monk mode on him. He toured Europe in 2013, did a couple festivals in 2014, and then it was mostly radio silence, save for the occasional cryptic Tumblr post. You can imagine that if any other artist stopped posting or stopped showing their face for 2 years, they would lose momentum. But for Frank, the opposite was true. It increased the hype level for what was to come. And when he delivered on that hype and then some with 2 projects that many consider to be his best work, he solidified himself for life. Therein lies the paradox that many artists have to wrestle with. Sometimes disappearing makes the people want you more, but it's a risk that not everyone can afford to take, because if it backfires, you just killed all your momentum. Frank is not the only artist to pull something like this off. Some could argue that the period between Playboi Carti's 2018 album Die Lit and 2020 album Whole Lotta Red was similar, albeit over a shorter timeline because rap fans expect their favorite artists to drop a little bit more frequently than fans of other genres might. Carti, to most, delivered with Whole Lotta Red, although they didn't think that the day it came out, which then let him repeat the hype cycle over an even longer period before his 2025 album Music. And whether that one delivered, I think, is a separate conversation. But this is not a repeatable format for 99.9% of artists. In many ways, the I'm gonna move on social media like Frank Ocean or like Playboi Carti is the Steve Jobs and Bill Gates dropped out of college of musician strategies. Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Frank and Carti took their mysteriousness to the extreme, and the only reason that it worked is they had already expertly curated a persona, a vibe, an aesthetic, and then delivered with music that their fans and fans of their genre in general would mostly agree is top tier quality. But life for most artists looks completely different from theirs. The advent of modern social media has completely changed the way that artists are discovered and promoted. In 2010, Drake posting a song to his Tumblr was enough to start a chain reaction that created one of the biggest pop stars of our generation. Nowadays, nobody reads blogs. They consume short-form content, mostly clips of vertical videos. And in the past, people would go to one particular blog and expect a certain tastemaker to deliver them recommendations that they could trust. Now, the videos are funneled to them on their own homepage by an algorithm, and sometimes it's the same curators, but they gotta hit the algorithm every time or you're not gonna see them. Artists will do anything to enter that algorithm, but there isn't necessarily a consensus or a formula on how to achieve that. One thing's for sure, you're not getting in there without a lot of content getting posted. The music marketing podcast No Labels Necessary made the claim last year that artists should prepare 30 pieces of content per song that they release. Now, if you couple that with the J.R. Smith style volume shooter approach of releasing music that artists like Russ and La Russell will often champion, where you might be dropping a song every month, every 2 weeks, then you're looking at 360 to 780 pieces of content per year. You can count on one hand how many times Frank Ocean posted between Channel Orange and Blonde. Now the average artist is going to post that many times in a week. And this isn't just for up-and-coming artists, by the way. This goes for pretty much any artist that is not tippy top tier A-list. Snippet culture has changed the way that artists tease and release and promote new music. In the past, like during the blog era, it felt like snippets were mostly forbidden, bad quality phone recordings that would find their way onto the internet out of luck. I always think of that one video of someone smoking hookah to an early version of Drake's song Feel No Ways. That was probably like a year before views ever actually came out. People thought the song was called Downtown Whippin'. Now, artists are constantly posting snippets, not just to promote their future work, but to gauge interest between one song and another song, essentially letting the fans into a democratic process of which song is going to get released next. Sometimes it goes well, and fans will clamor for particular quote-unquote grails to get released. I always liked the snippet for Playboi Carti's song Place, so when that song ended up on Whole Lotta Red, I was really satisfied. But at the same time, sometimes an artist will post a snippet and get a bad reaction, like that one Kid Cudi one. I guess it's better to tease it and learn that everybody thinks it's doo-doo than to drop it and find out the hard way. Still, it's clear that the mystery and intrigue around snippets is not the same as it was in the 2010s, and artists outside of the A-list are basically forced to post them for hype and attention. And to a lot of the fans watching, incessant music promo can come off as a bit corny. It's a delicate world because one day you're getting comments like, "Drop this right now," and just a few weeks later it shifts to "put the fries in the bag," TikTok artist, the crowd goes mild. Even if these comment section hate trains are just wishy-washy fair weather fans posting whatever the current hive mind opinion is, there is a kernel of truth to the idea that posting your own music is an inherently deeply cringe act. From the "is this the song of the summer?" videos to the staged showing your song to your friends videos, to even the hanging mic style of videos. You don't even need to ask the audience if it's cringe, you can just ask the musicians. They're gonna tell you they think it's cringe. Even the ones who are good at it and successful at it. Many of them hate posting these types of videos, they just do it because it sometimes works and they don't feel like there's another option. And yet, even as I describe this landscape, there are artists who are breaking through today without following any of these rules. They aren't proto-influencers. They barely, if ever, post to their own social media pages. They aren't flooding their fans with snippets, letting them decide which song should come next. They're finding a way to move with a little bit of mystery. How the hell are they pulling it off? McGee and Dijon are two artists I've covered incessantly on this channel, and for good reason. They're among the most creatively inspiring acts of the past few years, at least to me. But it's not just me. They've seen their numbers skyrocket, their industry opportunities grow exponentially, and their crowds at their shows get larger and larger. But when you look at their social media pages, you might wonder, how the hell are people finding out about these guys? Neither of them even have a TikTok account, and that's what most labels and managers would tell you is the only way to get big in 2025. On Instagram, the two of them do the bare minimum, posting a picture when a song comes out or tour dates. Dijon only has one video posted on there, and it's like a random jam from when he was on tour with Bon Iver in 2022. He has a beautiful film for his album Absolutely, and you would have no idea from his Instagram. While McGee did shoot these high quality live videos for songs from his album 2 Star and the Dream Police, he only posted clips from those videos once on Instagram. Any label executive, manager, or whoever else in music would be telling artists that they need to clip up their music videos and post them a bunch of times. I mean, that's what I do personally. Gotta try it with different text, or maybe some sort of memey attention-grabbing video in the front for retention rate. These guys don't sit and talk to a camera like a lot of artists do. So if these artists aren't posting themselves, how the hell are people finding out about them? Well, just because their page isn't posting the clips doesn't mean that others aren't. In 2024, Billboard ran an article called "Why Fan Pages Are Becoming Artists' Most Useful and Cheapest Marketing Tool." The article details the power of fan pages, or non-official artist pages posting a bunch of clips for an artist. It might look different on each platform or depend on an artist's aesthetic. For example, on Twitter, you might see "Insert Artist Updates." On TikTok, you'll get pages that pour in clips from music videos, interviews, live shows, whatever can grab someone's attention for long enough to make it worth it. What's a little misleading about the name fan page is the assumption that there's a fan running the page. In plenty of cases, sure, it's just a person unaffiliated with the artist who enjoys their music a ton and likes sharing it as a hobby. But increasingly, label-run pages and even artist-run pages that present themselves as fan pages are becoming more and more of a thing, without a lot of people even knowing. The thought process is that you get the benefits of an artist who posts all the time without the drawbacks of one that would do that. You know, the corniness or the aura loss that comes with constantly posting and promoting yourself, on top of just the waste of time that it probably feels like to a lot of artists because they would prefer to be making music right now. Tim Collins, a digital marketer quoted in the article, summed it up well, saying fan pages can tell the story of an artist without the artist having to be the voice. This has positive benefits for all kinds of artists, not just the ones who are a little camera shy. Because it's one thing for an artist to say, I'm an artist and this is my song and I think it's good, and it's another thing for a third party that the viewer thinks is unbiased to say, this song is awesome. Hearing it from an outside source instead of an artist might genuinely affect the way that you perceive it for the first time. Sure enough, there are hordes of McGee and Dijon fan pages on TikTok. Are they being run by the labels? Are they being run by the fans? I mean, it's impossible for me to say. I could say at least one of the Dijon fan pages is definitely organic because they posted a clip from my video on him and I talked to them in the DMs and they're really cool. Both McGee and Dijon have fans that would love nothing more than to spread their gospel. But trust me, best believe there are plenty of major label artists with fan pages out there that are really being run by Steve in marketing. Mystery and intrigue are powerful tools for an artist to harness, but not every artist needs to be mysterious. Some artists are naturally personable and talkative and enjoy sharing things, whether they're about music or not. You could think of an artist like Vince Staples, who is never too far away from a great quotable or a tweet. Or maybe he's just in Twitter Spaces role-playing the robbery of a McDonald's drive-thru. Someone like Vince going full mysterious would be an absolute travesty, at least to me. For some artists though, it's definitely true that creating the type of artist-made content that does well on social media is an unnatural fit for their music or for their vibe. But social media isn't the only way for an artist to show their personality. Cameron Winter, the lead singer of the band Geese, is a good example as an artist with a lot of buzz who barely, if ever, posts on social media. But when he does do interviews, he gives super funny and interesting answers. In reading all the interviews around his recent solo album Heavy Metal, he said a bunch of things about himself in the album, like he got concussions as a kid from playing hockey and that's how he got into music, but then in another interview he says it was from football, or that he started recording the album in a guitar center or in the back of a taxi, or that there's a 5-year-old bass prodigy playing on the album. Is any of that true? I mean, who knows? But it's the type of off-kilter, amusing world building that works really well with the kind of music he makes and the lyrics that he writes. And most of all, it makes a fan love him enough that they want to make a fan page about him in the first place. Listening to his music, you know that Cameron Winter recording himself for a TikTok video and saying, "Is Nausicaa the song of the summer?" It just wouldn't feel right. Yet he's found a way to communicate with his base that works for everyone involved. You hear McGee in interviews say things like, "I don't want to be related to, I want to feel like an alien." And it's like trying to make these relatable artist camera TikToks. Why would that make sense for him? And so there's a different balance between mysterious and available that works for every artist. Take Tyler the Creator, for example, who is incredibly intentional in what he shares and doesn't share. To some, like DJ Khaled, he's the face of mysterious music. As he let us know in a social media rant after coming in second place to Tyler in album sales when their respective projects, Father of Assad and Igor, released on the same day in 2019. But Tyler is constantly dropping music and videos, doing interviews, making clothes, sharing all sorts of creative endeavors that don't necessarily align with the whole hide in the shadows thing. He even spent a good chunk of his recent album Chromacopia talking about how much he hates fans trying to peer into his personal life. But what works for Tyler is confidence and intentionality. When the music is ready, he shows up and he lets his fans know. He's not going to post snippets and say, "What do you guys think of this one?" Looking at Tyler helps us realize that for a lot of artists who try to rely on the whole mysterious thing, it's actually a form of insecurity. A fear that if they did share everything that they wanted to share, it wouldn't be received how they wanted it to be. The truth is, what makes mystery valuable is having something that's actually worth being curious about in the first place. Going back to The Weeknd, there were so many artists who tried to be like anonymous or mysterious around then, and because the music wasn't good, people didn't care. It didn't slap like House of Balloons and Thursday and Echoes of Silence did, so it just didn't matter. And at the end of the day, still, even in 2025, with all the antics, all the BS, the most important thing is actually making music that would make someone want to be curious about you. And then however you want to present that works with you, that's up to you to figure out. As an artist myself, who also makes content, and who was an artist first before getting into this YouTube thing, it's a question that I've spent a lot of time grappling with. When I first made a YouTube channel, I was worried that people would take me less seriously as an artist because I also had this outlet. It's not particularly mysterious to post a YouTube video every Tuesday about other artists and trends in music and culture, but I know myself. I know that I'm an outgoing guy who likes talking about things and doesn't mind when the camera's on. But I also think if you listen to my music as HADJI Gaviota, like a lot of times it's very open, personal, honest, and so I don't think that what I do on here clashes with what I do as an artist. And I think that's the most important thing. Not every artist feels the same. Some musicians would rather get hit with a Call of Duty 5 kill streak Predator missile than record a YouTube video, and that's okay. I don't think that makes them lazy, just how I don't think that me making content cheapens my art. But we live in a time where creating content is becoming cool now. Streamers are the new rappers. Streamers are the new late night TV. Streamers are the new CNN. Streamers are the new whatever thing you used to consume 10 years ago. And if you say that and add it to almost anything, it would probably be true. And so the same way that we saw a bunch of people who didn't necessarily love rap music or making music in general try to become rappers at a time when being a rapper was like the coolest thing you could do, we're already seeing some people, some artists included, getting into content creation kind of half-heartedly because they think this is the future. My belief is, just like in making music, the people who are most authentic and purposeful in the things that they're trying to create are the people who are going to succeed. So I'm curious mostly what you guys think. Does an artist being mysterious make you more curious about their art? Or is it a turnoff? Do you like when artists share about themselves on social media? Has that ever stopped you from liking an artist that you already liked? Or are you just here for the music and you just want to grill, you don't really care about anything else? And so if you like videos on music and culture like this one, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. I post a video every week. If you want to see them early, go to my Instagram, HADJI Gaviota, throw me a follow, and join my broadcast channel. I post all my videos in there one day early for free. Also, I've got a new song called Beach Glass dropping on October 22nd. I've been teasing it a little bit on Instagram, but you just found out first the day that it's coming out. So yeah, super excited for that one. If you want to hear what it sounds like, go to my Instagram or my TikTok. I've been teasing it a little bit. Really excited for it. Let me know what you want me to cover next. Peace.